Grandmother cuts granddaughter's hair without parental consent, causing family rift. I'm Mark, a 34-year-old father from Austin, Texas. My wife, Angela, and I have a 6-year-old daughter named Lily. Lily has always had beautiful, long, curly hair that she adores. We've been teaching her to embrace and care for her curls, emphasizing the importance of her personal choices regarding her appearance. The first signs of trouble with my mother, Karen, were subtle. She'd been making comments about Lily's hair for months. Wouldn't she be more comfortable with shorter hair in this Texas heat? Or, those curls must be such a hassle to manage every morning. Each time, Angela and I would politely but firmly explain that Lily loved her hair and was learning to care for it herself. Karen would smile and nod, but I'd catch that familiar look in her eyes, the one I'd seen throughout my childhood when she disagreed with something but was biding her time. I should have recognized the warning signs, but I wanted to believe she respected our parenting decisions. Angela had never quite warmed to my mother. There's something controlling about the way she interacts with Lily, she'd whisper to me after Karen's visits. She's always trying to override our parenting choices. I'd defend my mother, attributing her behavior to generational differences and her old-school parenting style. Last month, Karen suggested taking Lily for the weekend to give Angela and me a break. You two deserve some time alone, she insisted, her voice dripping with honey. I've been renovating the guest room just for Lily, and I've got so many fun activities planned. Lily was excited about the sleepover with Grandma. She promised to teach me how to make those special cookies, she squealed, bouncing on her toes. Her curls, those beautiful, wild curls, danced around her shoulders as she packed her favorite pajamas and stuffed animals. As we dropped Lily off, Karen hugged me tightly. Don't worry about a thing, she whispered. I'll take good care of my grandbaby. Something about her tone made my stomach tighten, but I brushed it off. Angela squeezed my hand as we drove away, both of us looking forward to our first weekend alone in months. The weekend passed quickly. Angela and I reconnected, went to dinner at our favorite restaurant, and stayed up late watching movies without worrying about getting Lily to bed. Sunday afternoon arrived, and we headed to my mother's house, refreshed and eager to see our daughter. Karen greeted us at the door with an odd smile. We had the most wonderful weekend, she announced, blocking the entrance slightly. Lily and I had a little makeover session. She looks absolutely adorable. Before I could process her words, Lily appeared behind her. My heart stopped. My daughter's beautiful curls, the ones that had cascaded down her back just 2 days ago, were gone. In their place was a short, blunt bob that barely reached her chin. Lily's eyes were red and puffy, her lower lip trembling as she looked up at us. Mommy, Daddy, she whispered, her voice breaking. Grandma cut my hair. I told her no, but she said it would be better this way. Tears welled in her eyes again, and Angela dropped to her knees, pulling Lily into a tight embrace. White-hot rage flooded through me as I turned to my mother. What have you done? I demanded, struggling to keep my voice level for Lily's sake. Karen waved dismissively. Oh, don't be so dramatic, Mark. Her hair was unmanageable, and this is much more appropriate for a little girl her age. Besides, I've been doing hair for decades, it looks much neater now. That wasn't your decision to make, Angela said, her voice icy as she stood, keeping Lily close to her side. You had no right. I'm her grandmother, Karen replied, a note of steel entering her voice. And frankly, I think you two are being too permissive. In my day, children didn't get to make these kinds of decisions. Someone needed to take charge, and clearly, it wasn't going to be either of you. I felt something break inside me, the last thread of blind respect I'd maintained for my mother despite years of small boundary violations and passive-aggressive comments. This wasn't just about hair, it was about control, about deliberately undermining our authority as parents, and about completely disregarding Lily's bodily autonomy. We're leaving, I said, my voice deadly calm. And until you understand what you've done, you won't be seeing Lily again. Karen's face paled. You can't keep my granddaughter from me over something as trivial as a haircut. You're overreacting, just like you always do. This isn't trivial to Lily, I replied, gathering our things. And it isn't about the haircut. It's about trust and respect, neither of which you've shown us today. The drive home was quiet except for Lily's occasional sniffles. Will my hair ever grow back? She asked in a small voice that broke my heart. Yes, sweetheart, Angela assured her, reaching back to stroke her cheek. It'll take some time, but it will grow back. And no one will ever cut it again without your permission. That night, after tucking Lily into bed, Angela and I discussed how to handle the situation. She needs to understand that there are consequences for violating our trust, Angela said firmly. But cutting her off completely seems extreme, especially for Lily. I nodded, my anger giving way to a calculated resolve. We need to be strategic about this. My mother thrives on control and being needed. If we just cut her off, she'll play the victim and turn the family against us. Over the next week, Karen called and texted repeatedly, alternating between half-hearted apologies and accusations that we were being unreasonable. I let her messages go to voicemail, taking time to plan our response. Meanwhile, we focused on helping Lily recover. We took her shopping for cute hair accessories, found children's books about bodily autonomy, and consulted a child therapist who specialized in family dynamics. Dr. Martinez helped Lily express her feelings about the incident and gave us tools to rebuild her sense of security. What your mother did wasn't just about cutting hair, Dr. Martinez explained during our parent session. It sent a message to Lily that her boundaries don't matter, that adults can override her consent. That's a dangerous lesson for a young girl. Those words solidified my resolve. 2 weeks after the incident, I called my mother. I've been worried sick, she began, her voice a mixture of relief and indignation. It's cruel to keep me from seeing Lily over such a small thing. That's exactly the problem, Mom, I replied calmly. You still don't understand why what you did was wrong. It wasn't a small thing to Lily. Children are resilient, Karen dismissed. She's probably forgotten all about it by now. Actually, she's in therapy because of it, I said, letting the words hang in the air. Dr. Martinez says what you did was a violation of Lily's bodily autonomy, something that could have lasting psychological impacts. Karen gasped. Therapy? That's ridiculous. In my day. This isn't your day anymore, I interrupted. And if you want to be part of Lily's life, you need to understand that. Angela and I are willing to work on rebuilding our relationship, but there will be conditions. Conditions, she repeated, sounding affronted. I'm not some child who needs rules. That's where you're wrong, I continued steadily. Your behavior has shown us that you do need clear boundaries. If you want to see Lily, you'll need to attend family therapy sessions with us, take a grandparenting course at the community center, and sign a written agreement respecting our parenting decisions. There was a long silence. You can't be serious, she finally said. Completely serious, I confirmed. And until you agree to these terms, our Sunday family dinners are suspended, and any visits with Lily will be fully supervised and at our discretion. Karen began to protest, but I held firm. I knew my mother well enough to understand that a direct power struggle would only entrench her position. Instead, I was creating a path for her that would either lead to genuine change or reveal to everyone, including our extended family, exactly how unwilling she was to respect boundaries. Over the next month, Karen cycled through denial, anger, and manipulation. She called my sisters, painting herself as the victim of unreasonable demands. She showed up at our house unannounced, bearing gifts for Lily and tearfully begging to see her. She even contacted Angela's parents, trying to get them to intervene on her behalf. But Angela and I remained united, calmly explaining our position to anyone who asked and focusing on Lily's recovery. We documented every attempt Karen made to circumvent our boundaries, building a case that would be difficult for even her staunchest defenders to ignore. Meanwhile, Lily's hair began to grow back, and with Dr. Martinez's help, she started to process what had happened. "Grandma shouldn't have cut my hair when I said no," she stated confidently during one family session. "My body belongs to me." 3 months after the incident, Karen finally conceded. She signed up for the grandparenting course, agreed to family therapy, and met with us to discuss the written agreement. In our first joint therapy session, Dr. Martinez guided a conversation about the incident and its aftermath. "Can you understand why what you did was harmful, Karen?" the therapist asked gently. My mother sat stiffly on the edge of her chair. "I still think everyone overreacted," she began, then glanced at my face and sighed. "But I can see that I hurt Lily, which was never my intention. And I should have asked permission before cutting her hair." It wasn't a full acknowledgement, but it was a start. Over the following sessions, Dr. Martinez skillfully led my mother to recognize the pattern of boundary violations that had characterized her relationship with me throughout my life and was now extending to Lily. "When you disregard Mark and Angela's parenting decisions," the therapist explained, "you're not just challenging their rules, you're undermining their authority in Lily's eyes. That damages the family structure that keeps Lily feeling secure." Gradually, Karen began to understand. The grandparenting course introduced her to modern concepts of childhood development and autonomy that contradicted her authoritarian upbringing. The written agreement we developed together clearly outlined expectations and consequences, giving her a framework that actually seemed to reduce her anxiety about her role. 6 months after the haircut incident, we cautiously allowed Karen to have Lily for an afternoon, with check-ins every hour. The visit went well, with Karen adhering scrupulously to the snack and activity plan we'd approved beforehand. Lily returned home with her boundaries intact and a tentative smile. "Grandma asked before she even brushed my hair," Lily reported, a note of surprise in her voice. "And she said my curls are starting to look pretty again." As Lily's hair grew back into its natural curls, our relationship with Karen slowly healed as well. The therapy sessions continued, revealing deeper issues in my relationship with my mother that I hadn't fully acknowledged before. Karen began to recognize how her need for control stemmed from her own insecurities and the way she'd been raised. A year after the incident, Lily's curls had returned, now brushing past her shoulders. Karen had become more mindful of boundaries, not just with hair but with all aspects of our parenting. The power dynamic in our family had fundamentally shifted, not through dramatic confrontation, but through consistent boundaries and a structured path to redemption that Karen had to actively choose to follow. The incident changed me too. I realized how often I'd enabled my mother's behavior by making excuses for it, how I'd prioritized peace over protection. Never again would I allow anyone, family or not, to violate my child's boundaries for the sake of keeping the peace. Some family members still think we overreacted to just a haircut. But Angela, Lily, and I know better. What happened wasn't about hair, it was about respect, consent, and the foundations of trust that every relationship requires. The path to rebuilding that trust has been long and sometimes painful, but necessary for all of us, especially Lily, who now knows with certainty that her parents will always defend her right to control her own body, no matter what. And while our relationship with Karen will never be quite the same, perhaps it's better this way, built on clear expectations and genuine respect rather than obligatory family ties. Lily is learning that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or allowing the same harm to occur again, a lesson that will serve her well throughout her life. Every night as I brush Lily's curls before bed, now a treasured ritual for both of us, I'm reminded of how close we came to losing something precious, not just her beautiful hair, but her sense of autonomy and her trust in the adults who are supposed to protect her. Some lessons come at a high cost, but if our family emerges stronger and more respectful of each other's boundaries, perhaps it will have been worth it in the end.